It's me, Sasan, your Arctic Dungeon Master. And I know the video quality isn't really great this time, mainly because I'm in the dark and I'm trying to talk very, very softly because I do have a sleeping child just right over there. And this is really the only quiet room in the house right now. I don't know when this video is going to be online, but at this time right now, Alaska is kind of experiencing the COVID-19 um, epidemic or pandemic, whichever one you want to call it. And that has affected my game, but that's not what I want to discuss. I don't want to discuss the online playing today. I want to discuss the actual playing of the game. So you're not going to see a lot of me this time. I'm going to be switching it up and kind of putting pictures that go with the gameplay that I did. There'll be a few pictures of actual gameplay, and then the rest will just be the characters of the game and whatnot. Um, and this will be a quick video because I just want to talk about um, the actual playing of the game, how it went, and then I will go from I will do another video about actual playing online because that was something we had to do. We had to play it all online, and I'll talk about that in a completely different video. But right now, I just want to talk about the actual play of the game. So we just did this past weekend the third adventure in the Dungeon in the Box. Secret of the Sewers, I believe, is what it's called, and it was a great game. Um, there were times where I was getting frustrated, but I think as a game master or dungeon master, that is to be expected. We still finished the game. We might not have done everything that I wanted, but that's okay. Because you gotta play the way that the players are playing. I didn't hit all the maps. The game itself comes with 2 maps, and we didn't use the sewer map, unfortunately, just because of the way that the gameplay went. I started off with um, some dungeon tiles that I got from this game called The Descent. It's a board game, tabletop board game that you can buy, and I ended up buying it used, mainly just for the minis and the dungeon tiles. I thought the tiles would be great to be used because I didn't have any, and at the time I only had 4 maps from Dungeon in the Box. So I only had 1 box at the time, if you remember that video. Um, and I ended up getting those. And I haven't used them until now. Just because I haven't had the opportunity to use them. And you know what? They were fantastic. I think I'll use them again. Um, but my main thing, so using those dungeon tiles, I was not able to use a sewer map because of the way that things happened. So what I did was I had my characters go to a tavern that they saw as they were passing into the city the first time they entered the city of Greyhaven. So in the second adventure, they passed a shady tavern, and that is where I decided to call the cellar, which is based off of an old bar from my days in Carbondale, Illinois at SIU. There was a bar in a basement called the Cellar, and so I stole that name, and that's what I named my shady tavern in, and that is where they had to go to enter the labyrinth of sewers. And so it started off kind of nice, and then it transcended into not so nice looking sewers. But a couple things that made things skip through. So each time they chose wrong, their perception got a disadvantage of +2 each time they got wrong, and it made them enter the abbey quickly. they did not know that, by the way. They just kept making the wrong choices. And it kept getting harder and harder and harder. And I think it just kept getting more and more frustrating for them. To where they had to roll better than a natural 18. Or, yeah, they just had to roll better than an 18 on perception. And then they ran into two thugs from the Abbey, and somehow they ended up intimidating the thugs into taking them to their leader, and so a whole bunch of stuff got skipped. Mainly treasures. A bunch of treasures got skipped, which I guess is cool. It would have been cooler for everyone to have, like, because there was 3 additional dragon glass weapons in there. And I think I might just throw them in the Abbey when we start next time. But I'm not sure. I should probably do that to be nice, actually. And then instead of taking the thugs on one at a time once they got into the Abbey, because I ended up having their escorts get eaten alive as soon as they entered the Abbey, due to a fortunate monster that was going to pop up. So I had those guys eaten up, and then they had to go, instead of going one by one through each room, as soon as they got to someone else, they wanted to be escorted to the boss, and it just ended up being a brawl between all of the thugs from the sewers, all at once, attacking a group of 4 people. And it was just insane to have like 20 guys ganging up on just 4, or were there 5? Let me think about this. Alright, so yeah, there was, okay, I take that back. There was 6 guys. So a group of like 20 people up against 6 players, and one of them was a swashbuckler, and then another guy had a magical item, and it was just insane. I almost killed a player. There was just sighs of relief when the enemies kept missing, and it was just insane. And a funny thing is that they had convinced someone else to join their side, and then that person ended up getting killed. And it's just insane. It's just the way things happen. Oh man. I mean, and it took hours. Like, this game lasted about 3.5 to 4 hours. And a bunch of, like I said, they skipped 4 rooms as a penalty, or 4 interactions as a penalty, and then they skipped another 5 because they got escorted through to the Abbey. So, like I said, the main thing that got missed was treasures. But yeah, it was insane, but it was still awesome. Everyone's still excited to play the 4th chapter, the 4th adventure. I'm excited. There's some cool stuff coming in. I'm not sure if I'll talk about that. This was a little hard to do this time around, just because of the way of what's going on and everything. And my wife is downstairs making masks for people who work at the hospital, friends we know. Actually, 2 members of our D&D group work in the medical field. So she's making masks for them. And yeah, anyhow, so this lasted way longer than I wanted to. But there's some things to talk about. And I think I will go ahead and talk about playing online now. Just record another video.